Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge with another Digimon card game news video. So, we got the rest of those magazine reveals with Ragnalordmon. It seems we are not diving into the daily card of the days. Why did I say a day thing twice? Not quite yet. It just seemed to be a thing for the video yesterday. Videos seem to be coming out like every 3 days or so we might be getting reveals every 3 days or so. Who knows when the actual card of the days are starting up, so we're not going into the daily grind quite yet, but we do have more cards to talk about today, and there's a lot of really good stuff here that I really want to talk about, so let's get into it. So not everything is up on digimoncard.dev yet, but as always, big shout out to them, that site. Thanks to Zafi for doing the English proxies. Thanks for Ted on the Digimon TCG Discord for doing all the translations. Big shout outs. Big thanks to all of them for the hard work that they do. Check out the site. Check out the Digimon TCG Discord. Links to all those are in the description of every Digimon video I do. Let's talk about the stuff. So, last video I already talked about Ragnalordmon. And its base material, the red component, and the black component, which was exactly what we thought it was. It has blocker, and otherwise it's the same stat line as Durandamon. But we're not going to talk about that quite yet. We got their entire lines now, but we'll wait a tiny bit. There's a couple other cards I want to talk about that aren't related, so I want to get those out of the way, and then we'll dive into all of that. So the first of those is Mastemon. Mastemon is really good. So this is a purple that can evolve from a purple or yellow level 5 for 4. Has a 12 cost to play it raw, but you're not going to want to do that. Its only effect is on Digivolve, so you're not going to get any value out of it if you play it raw. When Digivolved, you discard one security from both players, and then you can revive a level 4 or lower yellow or purple Digimon without paying its cost. So this is really good. So the first comparison I want to make, well, first off, 4 costs, like, you compare this to Gallantmon. Let's bring up Gallantmon real quick. You compare this to Gallantmon, who needs to attack to discard security and needs setup to do that, and he has that same 4 cost. He has that same 4 cost, but Mastemon is getting to do that on Digivolve, which is a lot better, way better. Because like when you're paying 4, it's very common that's going to end your turn. You can't rely on a 4 cost not ending your turn. So the value that Mastemon gives you being on Digivolution, so the instant you play it, you get all your value and don't have to worry about it getting taken out or anything. That's fantastic. That's really good. Discarding an opponent's security is also a really powerful effect. There's a reason why Gallantmon is pretty enticing of a card. That's just a really strong effect. Like, it blanks any security check that might have happened with it, and it's just like, get damage in. Just get damage in. On Digivolution, do damage. Of course, you're losing your own security, but that has its own synergies that we'll talk about in a moment. The other comparison I want to make is that to Piedmon. Because right now, the effect of reviving a level 4 is something that only Piedmon can do, and you have to pay 12 to play Piedmon. And when you do it with Piedmon, you don't even get any win-played effects. That isn't very relevant to Purple, because Purple doesn't really have on-played effects. But that's still a really big deal. Getting that for 4 instead of like 12, which will always give your opponent a ton of memory, that's a really big deal. You're not reviving as many, but that's that's huge. That's huge. Now from there, let's talk about our options. So, purple level 3s, we of course have basic options of Tapir, which will be a cantrip, or Gabumon to get more pluses. Then we have Oh yeah, they do have on-play effects. They do have a couple on-play effects. You could revive Devimon to pop a level 3, but that doesn't seem super worthwhile, to be honest. Um, the real juicy stuff is stuff like Wizardmon for more cantrips. Vilemon, get back your blocker. Devimon, get a Vengeance, which will be able to take out anything on your opponent's board fairly easily. And then let's look over at our yellow options. So, we of course have the blocker option again. But we have some pretty juicy on-play stuff we can do. Like, for example, we could play Petermon and bring back a Tinkermon. This is going to get us 2 bodies. This will take a fair bit of space in a build to do, but it's fairly worthwhile. And then there's Gatomon. Gatomon's purple condition will be fulfilled just by having Mastemon on the field. So it makes Gatomon a lot more viable within, say, a pure yellow deck, because you can just run Mastemon to fulfill the purple condition, and yeah, just run Gatomon in your deck. So Gatomon might be something that could see a lot more play. I could easily see Mastemon ending up as like a backup level 6 in Shine Greymon decks, because it's just a very powerful effect. Very, very powerful. And the last one I want to talk about is the level 3 combos. There's a bunch of source stuff that you can get to start things going, but you can play Patamon. Gets on-play effect to check top 4 for any number of tamers. That's good for helping Shine Greymon deck set up. And you could also get Salamon with its on-destruction recovery to help you get back that security if you're running low. If you were able to play it for 4 without your turn ending, then you would be able to then from there you would be able to digivolve into where is it? Angelomon. You would be able to digivolve into Angelomon, and not that Angelomon, the Star Deck one, and get your security right back without having to wait for Salamon to be destroyed. Like, there's a lot of great plays like that. A lot of versatility with this card, and I have a really difficult time seeing this card not be super good. Like, I feel like this will definitely be a part of both purple and yellow like top strategies. It's just really good. This is something that will like really incentivize purple to start evolving up, because wow, that's a good effect. We're already 8 minutes in, so let's get into other stuff. So we have our first sight of Security Digimon. Unlike what I thought that the security effect would go at the bottom section, like you see with basically everything. And that way Security Digimon wouldn't be able to have inheritables. But that's not what's happening. It goes in their main text box, so they can still get inheritables, which is going to be a pretty big deal later down the line. We got 2 Security Digimon so far. Garurumon, no, that is not a typo. It will not work with Garurumon support. And Greymon. Both of them are the same thing. They're level 4. Security at the end of battle. Play this card without paying its cost. Raw cost of 5, Evo cost of 2, and 4k DP. So first thing to note, when you compare these to let's pull up Repamon. So Repamon has the same stat line, 2 to evolve and 3 to play raw. So these have a tax of 2 cost on their play cost, and honestly that's not very surprising. A 2 play cost tax was what was standard in early Duel Masters for shield triggers, and this is basically the same mechanic. So that makes sense. And that's all for the Security Digimon. These will be really good for any sort of Swarm deck. I'm highly expecting them to be played in Rookie Rush variants, because your opponent is trying to kill you. They give you a body. Like, that's good. That's really good. That's really good for that strategy. I expect them to run a lot of Security Digimon because it's just really good for them. Moving on from there, let's talk about the evolutionary line for Ragnalordmon because this stuff is nuts. So, starting with the red level 3, this is one of the most nuts thing in the deck. This red level 3 is identical to level 3 that the black line is getting, Ludomon. Basically, for both these, they're 3 to play, 0 to evolve, 1k DP. And on play, you check the top 5 of your deck to put 1 Ragnalordmon and 1 Digimon with Legend Arms into your hand. Now, I'm just going to quickly let you all know the entire line is Legend Arms. The level 3, the level 4, the level 5, both level 6s, and Ragnalordmon himself is also a Legend Arms. The amount of targets you have on this on a check top 5 is absurd. It's unlike nothing we've seen in this game. Like, with 24 copies. Let me show you the math real quick. So this is what I typically use to calculate odds like this. So let's put in 49 cards in deck because we already have to, like, there isn't actually much of a difference between calculating for 49 or 50. You don't want to lower your deck size based on your opening hand or your security because as cards are removed, the probability will remain approximately the same. The impact on the probability is not worth making the calculations more complicated. You just want to calculate with the full deck size and the full number of targets, the number of cards you're checking, and how many successes you need. And with 24, which is both level 6s, the level 7, and your level 3, 4, and 5, you are getting 97% hit rate. I also did some more complicated calculations to figure out, hey, so these can grab a Ragnalordmon plus another Legend Arms if you hit both. What is the odds of that? That's still like 28%. With all of them maxed, you're still hitting that like a quarter of the time. It's absurd. And because both colors are getting this, you can just run the off-color one too, and just get an absurd amount of consistency for this deck. Like, there is truly nothing like this right now. Like, the closest thing is Rena. And Rena, at best, it has 23 targets, though often you won't see the full 24 targets in a build. And that is only hitting 86% success rate. While being a tamer and not a body on the board. And not being able to grab 2 a quarter of the time. Like, these cards are absurd. This deck is going to be ridiculously consistent. The consistency tools it has is unlike anything we have in the game. Personally, I know I'm going to be trying to run both the black and red level 3 because, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Moving from there, though. So, moving on to level 4 and 5 for red. Both these have the inheritable effect of when your Digimon is level 7, security attack plus 1. This means that your Ragnalordmon is going to be able to hit 4 security attacks. Like, it's base 1 plus 1 for its own effect and plus 2 from its inheritables. You're going to be able to do this with fairly high consistency as well, beyond just the level 3s. Like, you can run Greymon in addition to Zubagirmon, so that you have multiple level 4s that are giving that security attack plus 1 inheritable. And in addition to that, the memory fixers. Now, Black Tie Kamiya, Black Tie is not going to be very worthwhile because your top end is red. Even in the black variant, Ragnalordmon himself is still a red card, which means it cannot get the benefit of Black Tie, which would be really nice because that opponent's turn buff on a big blocker like this, good stuff. But Red Tie, on the other hand, unlike Omnimon, this is actually level 7 that is red, so it can get the benefit from Red Tie. And Red Tie is able to not only make up for, like, say you missed your level 5, it would be able to make up for that to keep your security attack the same. But in addition to that, it's able to get you to taking out 5 security in a single swing. It's able to get you to that point. And that's really terrifying. Truly, truly terrifying. I think memory fixes in general are worth for this deck because, like, we're not like Fast Omega where we can really play 2-cost evolutions. We kind of really want both of our Legend Arms level 6s so that we can consistently get the free evolution on Ragnalordmon. So we really want to be able to make sure we hit 3 so that we can get there. Like going from level 5 to level 7 in a turn is good stuff. That's what we want to be doing. But the really scary thing is that, like, with a body this big, there's nothing that can really block it. And piercing means that a chump blocker won't do anything to stop it. So what that comes down to is when you have that capped out security attack, when you're taking out 5 security in one swing, you're at a point, you're putting your opponent down to 0 security with an attack that they can't stop. You can hide in raising area until this is all set up. And setting it up won't take that long because it's the consistency tools you have in this stack. And at that point, your opponent is just like, well, I have to take out this massive blocker. And then past that, I need to set myself to be able to stop any other chump swing from getting through. Because if a single other chump swing gets through, I lose on the spot. It's really good. It's really strong. Honestly, kind of scary strong. Like, honestly, might be a bit busted. Maybe. Don't want to throw that word around too much, but it's really strong. And not just the red variant. I actually think the black variant is going to be better. The main reason for that is that, like, Security Attack 5 is like a point of critical mass where there's not that much difference between Security Attack 5 and Security Attack 3 or 4. And the black build can still get its Security Attack 3 and 4. So, like, 3 or 4 total, sorry, not plus 3 or 4. I find it easier to refer to it that way. And that's because, of course, you can also run Tai in the black build. And on top of that, you have Black Metal Greymon, which, if the Digimon has Reboot, it gets Security Attack +1, which Ragnalordmon inherently has Reboot. So you're going to be able to get a massive security attack even in the black build. And then the black build has the added versatility of Ragnalordmon and Untitled, giving you a more control-centered variant you can go for, a control-centered route. Black gives you access to Atomic Ray. It's a lot easier for the black version to tech red options than for the red version to tech black options because of Ragnalordmon himself being red. But Atomic Ray means that, well, when a Ragnalordmon has blocker, that means we're going to be able to restand it if we have that open 3 memory and go in for another swing. And that will also help with getting our last swing in as well. So that's important to note. Yeah, in general, like, I just find the black version a lot more versatile because it's able to hit, like, very similar damage numbers to the red version while having these control aspects and Atomic Ray that the red version simply doesn't have access to. And the other thing I know is that when it comes to level 7s, Millenniummon synergizes with this stuff a lot more than Omnimon. Because you probably want one of these because big removal boys, very good. But Omnimon does not synergize very well because it has to bounce at level 6. So the one you'd be evolving it from is Piercing. And Piercing with a bunch of extra security attack on Omnimon sounds pretty nice. But what would make that sound nice is the fact that it has Piercing and has the double attack. So you're able to do tons of damage in one go in your Omnimon double attack. But that doesn't work because to get the double attack, you need to bounce to level 6 in your sources. So you can't get the piercing, even on the first attack, if you're using the double attack. The other thing is that Omnimon can't be free. Like, that's because it has a very powerful removal effect attached, But Omnimon cannot be free. And that means your opponent will always have the opportunity to remove Omnimon before it's able to take advantage of the massive security attack stack you've given it. This, of course, does not apply to Ragnalordmon, which is why it's really good despite not having the removal effects attached that other level 7s do. You're able to play it down, and every time you play it down, as long as you're able to fulfill that on-Digivolution effect, it will be able to attack that turn and immediately take advantage of your security attack stacks, and just put a massive dent in your opponent. On the other hand, I feel Millenniummon synergizes pretty well with the blocker side of things. Giving Millenniummon blocker is really good. Omnimon, of course, can't get blocker because it needs to evolve from red, and the blocker source is black, not red. Millenniummon having blocker is like, okay, I removed a big guy of yours. This is going to revive itself when it dies, but you have to deal with it because it's going to keep blocking your attacks because it has blocker now. A very powerful combination, and that in tandem with potentially getting the on attack, the Digivolution, is just, that's really good. That's really strong. I like that a lot. Yeah. I think this deck is really, really good. I would not be shocked if some Ragnalordmon variant ends up as tier 1. Well, I will be shocked if it doesn't end up as tier 1. I would not be surprised if this is the best deck in format of set 3. I'm not going to claim that it is because we are way too early in set reveals to make that claim, but it is really strong. This is really strong stuff and really consistent. Like, the consistency thing is the big thing that puts it over the edge. Like, if it didn't have that consistency, okay, you need to hit a specific chain. Like, you're asking for what? 5 pieces? 5 specific pieces to do this big combo? But on the other hand, you have tons of consistency boosters. Like, with the level 3s giving you that huge of a consistency boost, like, getting that is not that big of a deal anymore. And you can probably get it fast enough that hiding away in the raising area won't put you behind that much because you're putting a massive dent in your opponent. Maybe faster decks will be able to probably take advantage of it, but we'll see. But in general, yeah, this deck is really strong. I'm definitely going to be doing some testing with it, and probably uploading some gameplay of that testing, show you guys how it runs. But I'm really scared of this deck, to be honest. I think this deck is probably going to be really, really fantastic. But we'll see. We will see. With that said, that's going to be it for today. So this is Hunter Surge, signing off.